Pizza
and Co.
Welcome to Second-Hand Haunting, where we read stories from a second-hand book my mum found in a second-hand shop and try and make sense of them.
Fun of them.
Sense of them.
Fun of them.
Mum of them. Wait, we did this last week, didn't we?
Actually, I was surprised that we've included the mum as a part of the intro. Is that primarily where we get our material from now?
Well, yeah, it's the same book as we had last fortnight. So this is Ghost Stories of the Old West by Dan Asfar, which, as you may recall from last week, my mum found on her travels to Alaska.
Well, howdy, partner.
Ooh, maybe I should get you to read some of this, eh?
Yeah, nah.
Well, what do you say we just keep reading some stuff from Tombstone?
What was the towns again? Tombstone and...
I've got stuff here from Tombstone and also Deadwood. But frankly, I think the Tombstone stuff's just better.
I remember Deadwood because of the TV series, obviously. You know, yes. I was considering rewatching.
You should.
Although I have now got a job that has me going into the office where I don't have as many TV shows playing in the background as much. Back into office life. Got collared shirts.
Oh dear.
I know. No. I'm super professional now.
What have they done to you?
Awful things, Callum.
Well, hopefully nothing as bad as we're going to hear about today, eh?
Yeah, as much as I can talk about the perils of a collared shirt, it's surely not the perils that we're about to hear.
No, the perils of the ghost of the Bell Union building.
I'm realizing now that I'm not going to share this podcast around the office.
I can edit it out, it's fine. Karen Carter was another person who enjoyed her stay in Tombstone, though she is much more talkative about her time there than the Birdcage's old stage manager. See last week for the context of that one. Currently living in the state of Virginia, Karen moved to Tombstone in 1992 after her family doctor told her the dry Arizona air would relieve her son's asthma. I'm surprised that is still medical advice. You used to hear like, oh no, you've got consumption, go move out to some awful desert state to give yourself some clear lungs, but apparently they're still doing that in the 90s.
In the 90s?
In the 90s. The 1990s.
Oh, the 1990s.
Yeah, that sounds like 1890s shit. But maybe
say,
it's just real.
I thought this was like old westerns. Were you hearing a ghost story from the 1990s?
Well, yes. But the ghosts are still from the Old West.
Right, okay,
yeah.
Right.
But they're haunting the 90s.
I mean, a lot of our stories have been stories from like 1800s or
That's true.
Early 1900s.
This might be our most recent victim of haunting?
Ooh, victim. Do you mean the victim in the sense that like they just saw a ghost?
Okay, the witness then.
Sorry, I didn't mean to go into semantics. It was just when you said victim, I thought, oh my god, what happened to this poor person?
Well, we're going to find out what happened to poor Karen Carter.
Okay. I think she has a kind of a Western name, though. Karen Carter.
She does, doesn't she?
Howdy, y'all. I'm Karen Carter.
Oh, God. Karen Carter.
Karen Carter.
Karen Carter. I'm starting to sound more South Park now, I think.
Howdy, I'm Karen Carter.
Yeah, perfect.
Howdy, y'all.
She ended up spending the next 3 years there, making ends meet waiting on tables at the Bell Union restaurant in the Bell Union building on 4th and Fremont. Returning home in 1995, Karen counts her experiences in the Bell Union among her most memorable during her stay in Tombstone. Okay, so obviously she survives to tell the story. So maybe victim is...
I mean, maybe being put off by the ghost led to her having a bad job interview the next day. You know, that could be a victim.
Yeah.
Maybe seeing a pot fall off a ledge without anyone being around to push it led to severe trauma that she carries with her for the rest of her life.
I think more than a pot falls off a bench in this one, though.
Severe trauma.
Yep. Now, we have a quote from Karen here. Do you want me to attempt an American accent?
Please do.
I hadn't been working in the Bell Union building... No, fuck, I can't.
It wasn't going well.
No, it wasn't. I hadn't been working in the Bell Union for too long when I got wise to the strange things going on, Karen says today. It happened one night after closing. Tracy, a friend and co-worker, was there with me. We were in the dining room, just about to start up our closing duties, when it started.
What started?
Karen and Tracy were busy moving chairs when the silverware on each and every table began to shake. At first, the carefully arranged cutlery moved with barely perceptible vibration. But within a matter of minutes, every fork, knife and spoon in the restaurant were jumping inches off the tables, rattling in a frightful cacophony.
Like an earthquake?
Yeah, it sounds like it, doesn't it?
Just trying to paint the picture. Rattling like they would in an earthquake.
Yeah. I don't know if Arizona is anywhere near a fault line. I do not know that. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Editor's note, it is. But I do know that it's a silver mining town, so there's a whole bunch of people digging underneath for, like, decades.
Blowing stuff up underground, potentially?
It's not a mine anymore.
Okay.
But I think the amount that they riddled that earth with tunnels has probably not left it particularly stable.
So, potentially things could collapse and cause disturbances?
Yeah.
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 I'll believe it. I believe that earthquake-like phenomenon wouldn't necessarily be something that you would imagine being a ghost. That being said, though, if everything was rattling around, but you didn't feel the earth move...
Yeah, it'd be a bit weird, wouldn't it?
It would be pretty weird. Yeah. So, you had to be there.
Well, of course, we were terrified, Karen says. And without really thinking, both of us ran out of the dining room and into the kitchen. Whatever reprieve the pair were hoping to find there didn't last long. We weren't in the kitchen for more than a minute or two before the dishwasher door slammed shut and started running all by itself.
Better go catch it.
Oh, fuck me.
By no means have I ever promised good comedy in this show. I am dad jokes through and through.
I'm going to need a minute after that one.
For any joke I can really get my hands on,
Okay, that's a cheers.
Oh, didn't see that coming.
No. Have you ever seen a restaurant dishwasher?
I've used a restaurant dishwasher before.
Okay, are they like home ones where the door opens downward?
Not the ones that I'm aware of. Usually you have a lever at the top and you pull it down.
Oh,
and it's like this big... It's hard to...
It's like a big guillotine door. Oh, God, that makes it scarier.
It's one way of looking at it. No, it's more like a box that sits above the bench, and then you pull that box down. I wonder if I can show you a photo.
At least in your experience, could an earthquake accidentally close the door of it? Oh, here we go.
Can you see what I mean by see, it's like a box that sits up there, and then you pull it down. So you use that thing and you pull it down, and what it essentially does is it goes on top of the dishes and then washes them. So you go wash, and then you lift it back up and they're clean. So that was a big explanation with pictures that no one can see. Now, an earthquake could potentially
dislodge the bit that's hanging up above the dishes so it falls down upon them.
Yeah.
And if it was preset to just go whenever it was down.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah, all of those things could happen. I would say that in theory it's unlikely. You have to put some effort into actually pulling it down. I don't know if it would readily come down by itself. But then again, I haven't done the legwork here. I haven't done the science.
Okay.
I've done the experimentation.
Haven't done the dishes.
Today.
Me and Tracy were standing right there when it happened. Both of us could see that there was no one in front of the dishwasher. That was when Karen and Tracy decided that they had had enough. The owners lived in an apartment at the back of the building, and the pair ran down the hall to the apartment entrance, banging on the door in frightened desperation. The owners weren't home, but the short time away from the Bell Union restaurant allowed the two women to collect their thoughts. Well, after a few minutes out in the hallway, me and Tracy got to laughing at ourselves. We talked about what had just happened and sort of convinced ourselves that we might have overreacted a bit. The pair walked carefully back into the restaurant, where they saw that though the dishwasher was still running, the dining room was totally quiet. Relieved that things seemed to have gotten back to normal, Karen and Tracy decided to get back to work. Do you think you would?
Later on the news, they saw that there was tremors in the area. And all went to bed and had a restful night. Yeah, look, it makes me wonder about what the experience would be like. Because, God, if I'm being honest, if that happened, I think I would sit with it for a second. I'm not sure if I'd run away to ask something. I'd probably sit there and think about what happened.
Okay. You wouldn't just get back to work.
Well, what would you do? I've often joked to you that I thought that for you to believe in a ghost, that a ghostly apparition would have to appear to you and sit there and have a conversation with you before you actually decided to believe in ghosts themselves.
Look, ghosts or not, if this happened to me, I would not be going back to work.
Not be going back to work.
No, fuck that. No, I'm out. I'm done. I'm going home. The boss isn't here. I can't report to them. It's 1992. I don't have a mobile phone. Sorry, cell phone. What am I going to do? I'm calling it. Maybe I'll come in early tomorrow and explain to the boss what was going on. But I'm not staying and working. That's such an American mindset, isn't it?
It's funny. I feel like I would.
Really?
Yeah, I'd be worried about what I was going to explain to the boss. And I mean, if it came between my paycheck and my ability to keep working at the place where I was at, or having to explain to my boss that I went home because I saw ghosts.
No, not even ghosts. Just, hey, there was an earthquake or something here. Right. I don't know what happened. The whole place was shaking. The dishwasher turned itself on. I tried to find you. You weren't here. I went home.
Right.
So,
well, I mean...
check on my son who has asthma. He's presumably home alone and there's an earthquake.
I guess it depends on, what grounds you are on with your boss. If that is someone that you feel like is understanding, whether or not you feel like you need the job, I guess...
I feel like that's kind of where she's at.
There's factors. Personally, I would typically go back to work.
Okay.
And
I'm glad we've both got a different perspective on this.
But if something happened that was more extreme after that, because in my mind, I think I would play it off as okay, this is one thing that just happened. This is a story that I might be able to tell some friends later.
But the second the plate starts floating,
out the fucking door, like a shot,
okay,
like a bat out of hell.
I guess the fact that there are two of them probably gives them a little more confidence to stay there. If it was just me by myself, no chance. Well, we ended up not getting much done, Karen says. We were just getting started when I told Tracy that I was going to brew some coffee. The moment I said it, the coffee maker started all by itself. All right, where are we at, Ollie? Hanging around?
First of all, absolutely. Ghost is trying to be helpful here.
Trying to watch the dishes, trying to make the coffees.
I mean, as far as I can tell, all the ghost up until this point has done dishes and made coffee. I should be so lucky in the morning.
and tried to straighten the silverware all at once, violently.
Where can I get this ghost? How can I coerce this ghost into my house?
Well, you might have to move into the apartment above the Bell Union building in Tombstone, Arizona.
My theory is that this ghost just wanted to be wanted. And
I want you to want me.
I
want you to haunt me.
That's better. I thought it was...
Oh, wait, no, I'm begging you to haunt me. Damn it. Oh, fuck.
But yeah, I'm thinking that the ghost very much just, wanted to be wanted, wanted to help out. This is a ghost you want around.
Yeah.
I often say that if you have a huntsman in the house, it's good to have huntsmen in the house.
Yes.
Because they catch the flies. I mean, my wife wouldn't let me have a huntsman in the house.
No?
No, not a chance in hell. That sucker's going outside. But if it was just me, I would be fine with it. I'd be like, you go, little huntsman, you go catch those flies and insects.
Yeah, go, little eight-legged buddy.
See, spiders can be helpful, ghosts can be helpful too. That's the lesson I learned.
Okay. Water started pouring out of the percolator. There was no pot underneath, and the water was overflowing onto the counter.
Oh, well, now the ghost is just incompetent. I take it all back.
Too frightened to stop the coffee machine or even put a pot underneath it, the pair bolted out the front, locked the door behind them, and called it a night. I think a step too late, but their head's finally in the right space.
Well, it sounds like the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah. Incorrectly made coffee is insulting to any American.
It should be insulting to anyone. Really.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it wasn't actually going to it was never going to produce any type of coffee.
No.
Do you think the ghost was trying? Like, they just hadn't made coffee before? The dishes was an easy procedure, but they were just it was like their first day.
Did he die before percolators existed, but after dishwashers were invented? That can't be right, can it?
No,
Surely these happen the other way around.
Yeah, no, that sounds right. Certainly fancy modern dishwashers, that's for sure.
Yeah. Back then, you used to just pay a Mexican. This is Arizona. Come on. The next morning.
How about that weather?
The next morning, Karen expected to be in some trouble when she came into work, seeing as how she and Tracy had left the place in a mess the night before. Both owners, Jim and Dave, were there when I got to work the next day, cleaning the place up.
And I thought inappropriate jokes was like more me, not you.
Well, strap in, because I've just realised the owners are Jim and Dave, and they both live in the apartment above the hotel. I wonder, 1992, did Karen know?
So you're going to bring up racism, sexuality, going all out, my friend. Yeah. Well, look, I don't think it's an issue for Jim and Dave.
I think they've got bigger.
Where were you going with
issues.
this, Callum?
I don't know.
How can I support in a very political way?
I hope Jim and Dave are both very happy.
I'm sure they are. But yeah, no. So Jim and Dave
may have been out on a date last night, not just MIA.
Jim and Dave cozying up on the couch, watching a good movie.
You think they were home and just ignoring her?
Sorry, my bad. Jim and Dave out for cocktails, living it up.
Okay.
Taking in the latest cabaret.
At the Birdcage Theatre.
At the Birdcage.
Down the road.
Indeed. Wasn't there a suggestive movie called The Birdcage?
Yes. I think it's Robin Williams and Nathan Lane, I think, are a gay couple that run a theatre.
Yeah, that sounds right. Good times. Anyway, classic me, going wildly off topic.
I think it's vaguely connected.
So out for cocktails, coming back late at night.
The place is a mess. What do?
Yeah.
Start cleaning up. What good guys?
Could it be a bigamous ghost?
A bigamist ghost? No. This is Arizona, not Utah.
Maybe the owners are the real victims. They're the ones that didn't get the place cleaned up.
Well, they've done it themselves. I was surprised at how good they were taking it. But I was much more surprised at their reaction when I told them what happened the night before. Whoa, oh dear. I forgot how books work, Ollie. Help.
They fold.
This one's folding itself. It's haunted.
I told you this place was haunted. I've got a tidbit, but I'll save it till the end.
Oh, okay. So, Jim said to Karen, laughing, you've met Charlie.
Charlie's their friend?
I think Charlie's the ghost.
Charlie's their friendly ghost?
Yeah.
He's like a Camp Casper.
This ghost is real friendly. Wait, hang on. This ghost is a friend of Dorothy.
Oh, we are going to get cancelled.
Yeah. Don't worry, we're going to get edited. Charlie, Karen soon found out, was the ghost that had been haunting the Bell Union building for as long as anyone could remember. Quite a few different businesses had occupied the Bell Union since it was built in the early 1880s. For the first few years it was open, it housed the town's post office. Then it was purchased by a recently arrived Chinese entrepreneur who promptly turned the place into one of Tombstone's seediest establishments.
I have decided that my new theory, I think this is Charlie the friendly ghost. I do think he was trying to help, but I also think he's somewhat incompetent.
Okay, it's just useless.
Yeah. But I mean, I think he's trying. He's like,
his heart's in the right place.
Yeah, it's like he's in a perpetual first day.
God, poor guy. Seedy in the 1890s, Tombstone would have translated into downright rotten anywhere else. Yet such was the reputation of the Bell Union opium den that even some of the town's worst made it a habit to stay away. So this is like the worst place in the worst town at the worst time.
Except for the worst people stay away?
Yes, even the worst people avoid this place.
And I think it's full of the second worst people. Who attends if the worst people don't attend?
I'm choosing to interpret that meaning that the worst people in town were also racist and were therefore staying away from the Chinese-ran and probably patronised business.
You know, it's funny how popular opium has been for quite some time.
If Charlie is in fact a ghost from the era when the building was an opium den, perhaps there's a reason he's a bit useless.
So he's high.
I mean, if he died of an overdose.
It's interesting you should say that because it's hard to talk about this without referencing the actual television show Ghost.
Which I have seen all of now, so... If you drop a spoiler, I won't be mad, but I will still edit it.
Well, actually, I was going to refer to the American version of Ghost.
Fire away.
Yeah, they have a couple of characters that stay perpetually high or perpetually drunk.
There's like
when
the
they
hippie,
die.
right?
Yeah. So if whatever substance they imbibes before death, it stays in their ghostly entity for all time. So before I die, I'm going to get trashed.
Oh yeah, the way I want to go out in this world is chemically.
Chemically? Oh, no, I want like a fine wine drunk. I just want to be like slightly half-cut and happy for the rest of eternity.
I mean, if I know I'm going out anyway. Michael Hutchence, anyone?
Wow. Auto asphyxiation. That's right, isn't it?
Autoerotic asphyxiation.
Autoerotic asphyxiation.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
the way
fine.
to go.
Thankfully for the law, however, the drug house wasn't open for long. The opium den's proprietor met his end soon after he opened the place. According to legend, it happened while he and a friend were all juiced up on opium. Okay, I'd forgotten that bit of the story, but...
Being juiced up on opium and
then dying and just being a bit of a useless ghost.
I was trying to make your coffee. Where do the filters go?
I tried to arrange the silverware and then I tried to arrange it all.
You got the tremors.
Yeah. Oh my god. Someone got the idea that a knife throwing contest would be a lot of fun. And the idea found the two opium-addled men in complete agreement.
Sure. I mean...
No, hang on. If you get high on opium, isn't that like a real tranquilizing high?
I was going to say it's downer.
Well, they die, so it sure is.
Sure. I'm pretty sure opium users are depicted as like laying on couches with no energy, like...
Yeah, just totally zonked out,
Totally
right?
zonked out.
Not like, let's throw some knives.
Or, you know, maybe they were mixing their drugs.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, this is the 1880s, right? There would have been cocaine aplenty too, right?
Was it like I'm on the drug that killed River Phoenix?
Fuck. What? Was that
I
a
think he was-
speedball or something?
Yeah, speedball, which I think they
God.
actually mix like heroin and speed and other stuff.
Christ, okay.
Up and down all at the same time.
Sounds like hell.
May have led him to it.
Yeah. One thing led to another, and in all the time it took for a knife to fly across the room, the Bell Union's owner found himself on the floor with a Bowie knife jutting from his chest. He would be dead before the opium in his bloodstream wore off.
I feel like if you're going to have a knife throwing contest, that you should throw them at a wall.
Yes.
At the very least.
But if you're high... I can only assume it's an accident, right? Like, I don't think...
Maybe
I
they're
don't
trying
think
to
they
do
were
the
trying to
Apple
William Tell this shit.
Yes! Oh, you made that reference so much better than I could have.
While the opium owner faded in Tombstone's memory as quickly as weeds grew over his grave, everyone who worked at the Bell Union was reminded of him on a near-weekly basis, for they were convinced that this man's spirit was haunting their restaurant. His activities were sporadic and unpredictable. yeah, he was high. I wonder if all ghosts are high. No, I can't. That is...
No, of course they're not. No, that's the point, right? Like, they have to be high when they die.
Is every ghost a ghost because they were high when they died?
Oh, are they still high?
No. So, like, if a person dies sober, they don't become a ghost. If a person dies while they are high, they become a ghost.
No, I don't. I believe that it both become ghosts, but one stays inebriated.
Okay.
I believe that all the rules in the actual TV show's Ghosts are true.
Okay.
And the rules in the American one as well. I'm taking them both. The BBC one was better.
When I pitched this show to you, how much of Ghosts had you seen? And how recently?
I think all of it.
Okay.
Well, all of whatever I had at that point with the BBC series.
Okay, fair enough.
And then I started watching the American series. But I actually didn't necessarily... I didn't say, hey, Ghost podcast, awesome, I've been watching Ghosts.
All right.
I can't wait to make great Ghost references. I don't have I have a screen of Ghost references. These are coming up naturally and organically.
You wanted to do the podcast for the same reason that you wanted to watch the show Ghosts, because you're just kind of a fan of the concept.
I mean, I'm surprised I haven't been able to find a place for Ghostbusters or the actual movie Ghost.
We are never doing Ghosts. Get that thought out of your mind right now, you dirty boy.
There is a scene a little bit like that in Ghostbusters too.
There is, yes. I will concede that maybe we could do like a bonus episode where we do like a Ghost watch along.
Ghost watch along?
Yeah. So you know how people do like commentaries? Mm-hmm. So we do one of those for Ghost. We sit down, we watch Ghost.
The actual movie Ghost?
Yeah.
Ugh.
And we record us talking over it.
That may be a bit too intimate for me, Callum.
All right. We can warm up with some Ghostbusters.
What a long series that is now. So,
no, there's
Charlie.
only one Ghostbusters film.
Okay. So, Charlie?
Charlie. Sometimes his ghost would be content enough to unravel the toilet paper, open and close doors, or fool around with the lights. But on other occasions, his behaviour would be far more dramatic. I've got a question I'm going to save for the end as well, actually. I've written down my little reminder. Karen recalls her most frightening run-in with Charlie. Well, it was the end of another shift, and me and Tracy were in late, cleaning the place up. The place was totally closed up. I mean, there was no one in there besides Tracy and me. And all the doors were locked. So we were cleaning up in the dining room again when this man suddenly appears out of nowhere. He was a Chinese man, but he wasn't wearing the clothes that so many of the Chinese seemed to wear back then. He looked just like a cowboy, dressed up in a dirty old outfit with a long coat and a banged-up cowboy hat.
I'm starting to be able to visualize why they had a knife throwing competition.
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
It's starting to make more sense. You get that point where you can actually you can play it out. You can visualize it. You're like, oh.
Suddenly it makes a bit more sense.
Yeah,
why would a Chinese couple who are high be throwing a knife? Oh, because they're also cowboys.
Oh, he's a Chinese cowboy.
Yes. Charlie is a bit of a nickname. A bit of a archaic one for...
Oh, right. Like Vietnam, like Charlie in the Viet Cong.
Yeah, well, calling Vietnamese people Charlie was just being racist again because Charlie was an old name for Chinese people.
Really?
So the Americans coming over, they'd call Vietnamese people Charlie because they look like Chinese people. It's all just racist.
For the record, I think you should keep that in. I think that's interesting.
On the other hand, the North Vietnamese army was being backed by China. So they're all communist. And the word American propaganda machine was in full swing during the Vietnamese War.
Sure. I think we should jump back into that cowboy. So
yeah. Karen and Tracy became accustomed to Charlie's pranks. But this sighting was more than either of them had bargained for. This man looked as real as anyone walking down Allen Street on any given day. He walked around the bar, looked at us once, and then went on through the swinging doors that led to the back hallway.
You've got swinging doors, so cool.
I'm also immediately thinking like old-style saloon doors, but I think we're talking more like just swinging kitchen doors.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Fair enough.
But, look, if you're a ghost from the Old West, and you die in a building, and then one day they renovate and install swinging kitchen doors, you would be so happy.
Oh, absolutely.
Be like, hell yeah!
I'm imagining him walking through and then just like, as he's like walking through, pauses, looks around, tip of the hat. Howdy, ladies.
Karen and Tracy may have gotten used to the strange things that were going on in the restaurant. This incident, however, was too hard to overlook. Trying to convince herself that this man was an intruder, Karen called the police. Yet the ensuing investigation only confirmed that inexplicable things were afoot at the Bell Union. When the police got here, they found no evidence of a forced entry, Karen says. All the doors were still locked and intact, and the Chinese cowboy that we saw was nowhere to be found. He wasn't in the back hallway, in either of the bathrooms, or in the kitchen. And the door to Jim's apartment was still locked, so they decided he wasn't in there either. Why wouldn't you check, though? Could this have just been a gentleman caller for Jim?
The whole thing's a cover-up?
What was the other guy, Dave? Yeah, Dave. Was it just Dave in a Halloween costume?
Like, I'm imagining to a degree that there would be some sort of ghostly-like nature to this figure. Like, if it was an actual person, surely they would say, where are you going? Why are you here? You can't go back there.
Maybe they're just used to strange men in leather outfits walking up to Jim's apartment.
Sure.
You know, I should be careful. Jim might still be alive.
So, but you said that they were in the restaurant going through those doors, right?
Yeah, and walking into the back of the restaurant, which I think we'd established earlier, eventually goes back up to the apartment, but I could be wrong.
Right, but I don't think they would just casually not question someone that is walking into the kitchen.
Agreed. I should hope so.
I would imagine that they would go after them, and then if they can't find them in the kitchen, then we're talking clearly ghost here.
Obviously, ghost.
Obviously a ghost.
Yep,
right?
Chinese cowboy ghost.
Thank you. Finally.
But the police were wrong in thinking that this intruder would be impeded by any lock or door.
Oh, so they actually called the police?
Yeah, the police came and searched the place for a Chinese cowboy.
Oh, wow.
Didn't find him. But also didn't look in Jim's apartment.
I think you said that and I forgot. I apologise.
When Jim got home later on that night, his place was completely trashed. Oh, Dave, you naughty boy. I think Dave's been having someone on the side now.
Okay, so you're thinking that it was indeed a Chinese cowboy.
Yeah, I'm doubling down on this Jim and Dave relationship not being quite so wholesome as they seem.
Right, as they seem, sure. Right, so do you think that Dave actually came up with Charlie because he wanted there to be
deniability?
Deniability, that's
yeah.
right. So if they saw random characters, you're like, oh, that's just Charlie.
Yep. Oh, he likes to play dress up. Sometimes he's a cowboy, sometimes he's an Indian.
And do you think he
sometimes he's a leather man, sometimes it's a sailor. Okay, I've gone too far, I think.
That's fine. Okay. Compose yourself, Ollie. Compose yourself. So do you think that he could have gotten his lover to dress up in the outfit because he already said that there was a cowboy?
Yeah.
A Chinese cowboy called Charlie. And he was like, okay, so if you're going to come around, you have to dress up. Although it's because the house was trashed, though.
It was.
So we've got this idea that maybe he had a lover, a Chinese lover, who he told the story to.
Mm-hmm.
And then if he actually was a jilted lover who
had a spare key
and wanted to get back at Dave and decided that he would dress up as said character and then use that as a way to infiltrate the apartment to trash said apartment before swiftly exiting, never to be seen again.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Whew, got through that.
His clothes were strewn all over the place. His furniture was upended. His papers were everywhere. The place was a complete mess. It does sound a bit jilted loverish, doesn't it?
Or just a fun night.
I'm not gonna discount that possibility either.
Just kidding.
Yet Jim knew better than to call the authorities. Years of experience with Charlie had forced him to accept the occasional fit of domestic carnage.
Right. So it's just all Charlie's fault at this point.
Yep. Karen as well had learned to put up with the Chinese ghost. though Charlie would never again appear in front of her the way he did that night. He always made sure that not too much time elapsed without another prank. Most were minor incidents. In the 3 years that Karen worked at the Bell Union, a week never went by without the radio changing stations by itself, candles lighting on their own, or water running by itself.
Well, look, it's a hop, skip and a jump from running water and changing the radio station to ransacking an apartment, isn't it?
It's a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah, it's slightly different.
Yeah.
Or,
although, if you can move every piece of cutlery in a restaurant all at once, I guess maybe you are capable of ransacking an apartment.
So it did occur to me, though. I did wonder.
Yeah.
Let's just say, hypothetically, Charlie existed. Let's say everything that...
I think Charlie existed, yes.
Sure. Let's just say that Charlie, as a ghost, existed.
Okay.
And everything up until this point has been completely true and honest.
Okay.
Could we speculate that a ghost with no company and most people running away from them on sight would get bored and want to annoy people?
I guess, yeah.
Could this motivation of this ghost be like, I'm just pissy? No, sorry, I'm just bored. I'm just bored and I want to annoy these people for the hell of it because I have nothing else better to do.
All right, you're inching towards my question anyway, so I'm going to ask it now, even though we're not quite at the end.
Sure.
Do you think that Charlie and Corny would be friends?
Absolutely.
Corny from episode 8, listeners.
Remember.
Yeah, you do, but listeners might not. It was blooming ages ago.
That was with the fish as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, throwing fish around the room, stringing vegetables up around the place.
What a character.
Do you think they get along?
I think they would. I think Corny might be more annoying. Maybe that... Or it'd be like one of those things where it's like two people, they've got their own thing, right? And they're like,
Right, they're both trying to be the centre of attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a real disastrous negative feedback loop.
Exactly. Or they could just they could only be one. Like they wouldn't get along because no, that's my thing. You can't steal my thing.
Yeah. It's probably a good thing they're on different continents, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sure they could meet up at conventions though,
God protect that hotel room.
A whole seminar for annoying ghosts and how to annoy people. How to annoy the living. Rattle some cutlery.
How to haunt friends and influence politics. Nah, I've got nothing. Radio static for beginners.
How to randomly turn off appliances. I had this odd thing happen to me the other day where I turned on my computer during my holidays. So I turned it on and the date said it was Wednesday when it was actually Thursday. And for a second there I thought I had an extra day in my holidays.
Oh no. Oh man. If that's a ghost, they found the worst thing to do to someone.
And then I went to click on settings and then it just immediately snapped into the right time. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's right.
It's like that thing when you look at an analog clock and it seems like that first second hovers for a bit longer than normal before it clicks over. You had that with a whole day.
If you want a day to last an incredibly long time without drugs, watch an analog clock tick.
Jesus Christ.
For the entire day.
That is so depressing. I cannot.
You will stretch time, my friend.
Ollie, why are you giving Satan ideas?
Hours will seem like days.
Oh, you've really affected me with that one.
It's true though, isn't it? How much slower does time seem to go when you watch the clock?
A watched clock never boils? Wait.
A watched pot never boils.
Yeah.
It's an incorrect saying because a watched pot will boil. It'll just take its sweet time. But it's not science isn't going to temporarily pause because of your habits.
What's something that you would boil that starts with C?
Carrot?
Schrodinger's carrot. Thanks for the assist. Karen eventually got used to Charlie and often addressed him like she would anyone else in the Bell Union. And unlike the reaction of many people to encounters with the supernatural, Karen laughs when she looks back at her experiences in Tombstone. Charlie just wasn't ready to say bye to the Bell Union. I guess that's why his spirit is still there today. The end.
First of all, I'm going to call it as a genuine ghost experience.
Genuine ghost.
Genuine ghost.
Okay.
I feel like you always call it as not a ghost.
No, I think you convinced me once.
So I feel like this part of the episodes has to be primarily just me. Because I can get swung either way. I can go either way.
Tell you what, we didn't last week, but Justin, while he was on, gave us a great idea to find the MVP for every episode.
What, like between the two of us?
Yeah, just pick out who we thought the most valuable player is in the story.
Oh, in the story?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. No, not...
I was like, Jesus.
Sorry. No.
Didn't know Justin was that competitive. Okay.
Look, no, he's not, but I am.
All right, well, look, I'm going to vote for Dave.
Going with Dave?
I'm going with Dave.
Dave, the rarely heard, rarely seen, rarely home part owner of the hotel.
But the one that perpetuated the myth of Charlie. The one, that told the tale, that set the scene, that potentially even influenced the people around him, So
the mastermind from the shadows.
The mastermind from the shadows. How about you? What do you think?
I'm going with the police officers who legitimately came out to investigate. Good on them. They did their job.
To the police.
Yeah.
Cheers to the police.
I will probably not be picking the police as the MVP very often, but here, kudos to them.
I'm not sure what you mean by that, Callum, but I will say that they're not in many stories.
No, for good reason.
I mean, you don't want the police to be involved in ghost stories, really, in the grand scheme of things.
No. They'll find someone to shoot and it's not the ghost.
You heard it here first, folks.
I don't think I'm the first to say that. But
you were not trying to make friends this episode. That's all I'm going to say.
No, but I am trying to influence people. Oh, fuck. Now I've got to keep that in. Anyway.
How to make friends and influence people.
Yeah. Now, did you have a little point you wanted to raise at the end of the story as well?
Right. So really, one of the tidbits that I wanted to share from my life was the fact that I now work in a building that was repurposed from a hospital.
Indeed. Okay. If you're from Adelaide, you know probably where we're talking about, but there's plenty of businesses in that particular lot.
Well, the place is called Lot 14 now. It's like the tech centre of Adelaide.
Yeah. So if anyone can find the ghosts.
I was chatting to the person that I report to at the office, and I said that we had the podcast. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So for those that don't know me, I'm a software engineer. And I was like, oh, yeah, I do a podcast. And I was like, oh, like a tech podcast? I'm like, no. Actually,
he was probably he might have been relieved to hear that.
It's it's a bit different. So I went on to explain the podcast to my manager, and he...
Wait, do you have a ghost story?
No.
Oh, okay.
But he was telling me that the security guards do. So he said that security guards...
Oh, do we want to save this for a little bonus episode, maybe?
Well, they haven't told me any stories, so I'd actually have to meet them and get the stories from them.
Okay.
So,
but if you do, I'm well happy to do a little bonus episode there, either with them or without them.
There's actually no reason for me to visit the security guards, but I'm wondering, should I just randomly go down to the security center and be like, "Hey guys, like just wondering, like."
Yeah, that's not going to be suspicious at all, is it?
I have a pass card to actually get down to the security center, so I can go down into the belly of the beast of potential.
The old service tunnels underneath the old Royal Adelaide Hospital, where also my father used to work.
Really?
So I might be able to corroborate some of this.
Well, it'd be interesting to see whether or not he had stories as well.
Hey, Dad. I will ask.
Anyway, I just thought it was funny.
I don't remember. He might have told me.
I will say that it hasn't by any means fazed me. Like I hadn't thought about it at work. I haven't thought for a second, oh, someone could have died in this room. Well, I might think about it now.
The old building has been demolished and new one's been built, right? I don't think you're still working in the actual hospital building. Maybe the admin block, maybe.
I think like maybe the admin block, because the building that I work in at the moment is definitely renovated.
Does it have an ensuite? No.
It's definitely renovated. So it has a lot of the same external facade.
Mm-hmm.
And the office I'm in, you can see that like the walls are still like the original material.
wall.
Like maybe it was heritage listed or something.
Yeah, most likely.
But I think there was a few buildings that were gutted. Like everything inside does look brand new, so it's probably gutted.
Well, I look forward to whatever you might find out. No pressure, though. If it would be particularly onerous to go and introduce yourself to the security guards.
With a little
with
mic.
no reason. Yeah, with the microphone and recording equipment. Yeah.
Nothing sus about that.
Yeah, I think there's ways to
Have
do
you
it.
seen a ghost? Do you know the password to this route?
What's through here? Can you show me?
Just for ghost reasons.
So whether we have an upcoming bonus episode or whether we just have another regular episode, we'll see you again soon on
Second-Hand Haunting.